It's time. Time for the nights to howl, a time where shadows whisper, when the monsters in your dreams become real. Biz, you already started the Halloween line. Let's get this over with. No fun with this guy. Guess we'll just jump into today's review. We're gonna dive into a issue involving cute little animals finding new homes, friends, and horrifying memories of the past. In 2021, Tony Fleece, the writer of In My Lifetime and Time Shopper, would join forces with Trish Forstner and create a tale of true nightmares. Who's Trish Forstner? Oh, she's an artist who most would know for her time on IDW's My Little Pony My Little Pony? Yeah, don't expect me to bring up pony facts. Was never a fan, so never read it. What if it's a Patreon? Maybe. Anyway, let's get into Stray Dogs and show what horrors they created. Warning spoilers. Our story begins with a trip to the vet, where we meet Sophie, a Papillion dog whose owner has noticed she's been acting skittish. As they set her on the table, her owner is scared that Sophie is going to hate her, but the vet assures her that it's not possible to hate their owners, and that dogs' memories work very differently. Dogs can remember people, scents, and basic commands and habits, but only after having repeated exposure, like how my dogs Bruce and Kilo usually get excited around a certain time, as that's when they go out for walks. That little tidbit will be very important. After that, we fast forward to some time later, as Sophie is taken by a new owner who seems to take in rescues, as we get a whole pack of dogs. Excited to see her. Now, there's a lot of dogs, but the core cast, at least in this story, are Rusty, a sort of leader, Roxanne, his mate, and is also sort of the mother figure, Victor, who's very friendly but also a bit impulsive, and Earl, who seems to be the most strict of the group and the most loyal to their owner. Sophie is nervous, but Rusty and the others try to help her and show her around the house. Unfortunately, all that leads to is her peeing on the carpet. Not the greatest first impression. I'm really not seeing the scare factor here. Just a bunch of cutesy animals. We're getting there. Later that day, Sophie's new owner sees her in distress and gives her a scarf to keep her warm, thinking she's cold. Again, this is a bunch of wholesome crap. But when Sophie sees the scarf, she remembers her owner had a scarf like this and recalls what happened to her, revealing that her new owner murdered her. Never mind. Good, now shut up. Yep, Sophie's new owner is a cold-blooded killer. She tries to tell Rusty and the others, but they don't believe her at first. And it doesn't help that even she's struggling to stay on track, as when she wakes up the next day, she forgets. But Rusty, since he's a good boy, decides to help her by showing her the scarf again. Since dogs have memory issues, she needs the scarf to keep her from forgetting. Essentially, she has memento. Don't you mean Finding Dory? Oh, shut up. Half the viewers won't even get that reference. After a close call where Sophie and Rusty wreck a room, leading to Rusty taking the fall and being taken to the shed for discipline, i.e. torture, Sophie does find a picture of a young woman, not of her owner, but of Roxanne's. Turns out the owner is a full-blown serial killer. He stalks young women, eventually kills them, and takes their dogs. The dogs aren't rescues, they're his trophies. How will the dogs escape? Can they escape? What horrors go down in the shed? Well, you're gonna have to read to find out. Though heads up, the shed scene is messed up, especially if you're a pet owner. Stray Dogs is an amazing horror story. It has a dark twists and turns of psychological horrors like Misery, where the main character, mercy of someone could kill them at any time, while also suspense from films like Memento, as the dogs struggle to keep their memories, and the art style and characters who'd be right at home in a Don Bluth film. Yeah, there are some jokes that really don't work, like Sophie peeing or some of the dogs not really getting too much to do outside of the main group, though that's sort of remedied in the prequel comic Dog Days, but that's a story for another time. Speaking of characters, let's start with our main dog, Sophie. If I had to compare her to any Don Bluth character, I'd say she reminded me a lot of Mrs. Brisby from The Secret of Nim. She's scared and timid, but she's courageous enough to get past those issues to help her and the others escape. And that courage develops as the story goes on, as she asserts herself more and more as things begin to look hopeless. When a dog sees a task, they won't let go. Next up, we got Rusty, who was definitely inspired by Charlie from All Dogs Go to Heaven. He's very charismatic, he sees all the dogs as his family, and though he loves his owner, he's also not blinded by that love, and is willing to hear Sophie out. And when the truth does come out, he is even willing to let her take the reins when the time comes. Next up, Roxanne, who again is more the motherly figure, who tries to keep her cool, but as she remembers what happened to her owner and digs deeper in what kind of man her current owner is, she becomes desperate, but also determined to get herself and everyone else out of there. She does kind of get sidelined near the end, which is a bit of a bummer, but still more we can say than some of the other dogs. Next we got Victor, who's a bit on the more impulsive side, always wanting to play, but also has a tragic side. As it turns out, when it comes to how his former owner was killed, yeah, that missing leg was an accident. Victor loves everyone and trusts everyone, which makes his story Well, it's a gut punch, I'll just say that. Wrapping up the main cast of dogs, we got Earl, who started off as a secondary antagonist in the story, as he's the only dog who doesn't and refuses to believe his owner is a murderer, mostly because he's currently who's lived with him the longest. His memories of his previous life and owner are totally lost to him. His current owner is the only one he knows, and is determined to protect him. Even if it hurts the dogs he considers his family. Finally, we have our cold-blooded killer, the owner, aka the master, or as Sophie calls him, the man. Despite never learning his name, we still get a good idea what kind of person he is. He sees himself as a hunter, which is first seen with the animals he taxidermies. Then when it comes to the pictures he takes of potential victims, he's studying them and pondering who he should target next. He also seems to focus on control, as he doesn't tolerate any form of disobedience, either punishing them in the shed or, well, let's just say I was rooting for them to tear the bastard apart. As I said, Forster is on art, and again, she really nailed the art style from the early Don Bluth films, especially with the characters' expressions, with the exception being the human characters, who for most of the comic are faceless, similar to a lot of the cartoons that had animals as the main characters, like Tom and Jerry, though clearly drawn to look more grounded and realistic. Also, love the variant covers, which you can tell Forstner had fun drawing, as each one is a parody of a classic horror. To wrap up, Stray Dogs is a great horror story that I definitely recommend to those who are looking for a fun twist on a horrifying classic. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates, and follow me on Blue Sky. Next time, we got a character spotlight and return to Fabletown to tell an insane war story with wolves and the undead. Later.